Hey there, Victor. Still living at home with your parents like a bum?
Wow, Richard, that was quite an unexpected greeting. How are you doing? As for me, I am doing well, thank you for asking. And yes, I am still living with my parents at their home.
That is absolutely unbelievable, Victor. You are almost 30 years old and still haven't left your childhood home?
Well, Richard, technically speaking, I am still 28 years old. But yes, we are both getting up there in age.
Victor, that is not the issue here. Don't you see the problem with being almost middle-aged and still living in your childhood home? Shut in from society and cut off from the world? Aren't you embarrassed to call that a life?
I don't understand why you feel the need to describe my situation in such a negative light. What does my living situation have to do with you anyway?
Oh, but it does. More than you could ever imagine.
What do you mean?
Well, I've been thinking about moving back in with Mom and Dad myself.
What the heck? You just went on this whole rant about how I should be ashamed for being a middle-aged shut-in living at home with my parents? And now you're telling me that you're going to put yourself in the exact same situation?
Victor, you and I are very different people at our core. I am a gainfully employed contributing member of society, working for one of the fastest growing companies in the country. On the other hand, there's you. A useless leech sucking the life out of your hardworking parents while being unable and unwilling to get a job or contribute to anything meaningful to society as a whole.
Come on, lay off, man. How many times do I have to tell you this? I work from home.
Oh, really? Professional house sitting, is it? Or perhaps you're one of those YouTubers making videos all day long? What other pseudo jobs do you have up your sleeve?
You know, as well as anyone else should know that society is shifting towards remote work whenever possible because it saves time and increases efficiency overall. And besides, I am self-employed, so my situation is a bit different than most people's.
I see now. OnlyFans it is then.
Whatever, have your fun at my expense if it makes you feel better about yourself. But tell me, why did you all of a sudden decide to move back home with Mom and Dad?
As the eldest son, it is my duty and responsibility to take over the family home now that our father is getting along in years and will be retiring at the end of this decade. Someone needs to step up and take care of our parents in their old age, and everyone knows that you cannot be counted on for anything. Especially when it comes to responsibility, something which I possess, but you clearly do not.
Oh, now all of a sudden you want to play the role of the good son? You never once called our parents or visited them except on holidays. And even then you never spent the night at their home, always opting instead to rent a room at some nearby hotel because apparently staying with your own family was too much for you.
The reason why I never stayed with our parents is because they already have enough on their plate dealing with your sorry ass on a daily basis. I didn't want to impose on them any further by adding another burden for them to bear. But now that I am moving back home, I don't want to share the same living space as some good-for-nothing shut-in like yourself. Just being in the same room as you during our family gatherings gives me an ulcer and causes me to break out in hives. So do us all a favor, move out of our parents' home, and make all of our lives easier.
Whoa, hold on just 1 minute there. Isn't that being just a tad bit selfish? So now all of a sudden because you want to move back home with Mom and Dad, I am supposed to just up and leave without any consideration for my own feelings or well-being? Truthfully speaking, I don't really care one way or the other. If Mom and Dad want me to leave, then I will do so without any fuss. But have you even spoken to either of them about your plans to move back in and take my place?
Of course I have spoken to them. They both love me and are thrilled at the prospect of having me back home with them. It's not going to be a problem at all. And as for you, Victor, it's too embarrassing for me to even acknowledge you as my brother. So I have to act like you don't even exist. The people I work with don't even know that I have a brother. Believe me, it's in everyone's best interest if you just piss off somewhere far away from our family and let me have my way here.
For the last time, I have a job. For God's sake, man, I have never had to try so hard to explain myself to someone, and still not have them understand what I'm saying. And you're my own brother, for crying out loud.
You've been a failure at everything since as far back as I can remember. You're always chasing after my shadow and trying to mimic everything that I did, and failing spectacularly every single time. If only you had been blessed with my brains and talent, then perhaps you wouldn't have had such a sorry excuse for a life.
Well, I did manage to get accepted on my first try into the university that you failed to get into. So I'm not quite sure where you get off saying that I am not as smart as you are.
Who cares about what university you went to? It means absolutely nothing if you go to a good school, but then do nothing with the education that you received, and instead become nothing more than a parasite leech sucking the life out of society. At least I managed to get hired by a Fortune 500 company and have something to show for my education. Unlike some freeloaders who shall remain unnamed.
Okay, sure. Whatever you say, bro. We are two different people living separate lives with different goals and values. If we both enjoy what we do and follow our dreams, then everything is just peachy.
Wrong again, Victor. While I am working my butt off every single day, proving my worth to everyone around me, you are still nothing more than an unemployed leech, sucking the life out of our parents and contributing nothing of value to society. Learn from your big brother for once and become independent. It's about time you quit sponging off our parents and get a life.
For the last time, I'm not sponging off anyone here. There's nothing to sponge up here, to be honest.
What does that even mean? Everyone in our family has become successful in their field except you. Dad is the vice president of a big contracting firm. Mom is head nurse at the city hospital, and I'm a veteran employee at a tech giant. Then there's you. Probably a neckbeard SJW Reddit moderator who only leaves his room to nuke his nuggies and evacuate his bowels.
Glad to know you think so highly of me. Unfortunately, that burn misses the mark completely.
You may have graduated from a good university, but that is wasted on a shut-in that can't find a good job to pay for their own underwear.
I really don't know why you're trying to stereotype me into being a shut-in, but I leave the house quite often when business requires me to do so.
But that doesn't change the fact that you spend most of your time inside, does it? Stop trying to defend yourself. It's sad to hear you try to come up with excuses. Mom told me about your daily schedule, and she never lies.
For heaven's sake, it's for work. I work from home because my line of work allows for it and actually encourages it. I used to frequent a shared office space to get my business done, but I find that I can focus better working from my own room.
Ooh, buzzwords and Gen Z work ethic. Trying to make it sound cooler than it actually is cringy. I know how it really is, so nothing you can say can make your position sound better than it really is.
I see nothing I say will convince you otherwise, so let's wrap this up. I still have quite a bit of unfinished work, so I'll take my leave if there's nothing else.
Yeah, I guess being a professional recluse is a 24/7 job, so you better hurry up and get back to doing nothing. About me moving back. I hope everything is in order for me to take over.
Moving? You're actually serious about that?
Of course I was serious. Why would I lie about something like this?
As I told you before, you never showed any interest in dealing with mom and dad.
Whatever, I'll be moving in tomorrow.
That's a bit on the sudden side, isn't it?
So you and all your crap needs to be out of there before the trucks arrive.
What the hell, dude? That's asking a lot on such a short notice. As I asked before, did you get mom and dad's approval for all of this? Do you really know what's going on in this household currently?
A non-issue if that. Of course I know what's going on. I'm the eldest son. Mom was overjoyed when she heard I was going to move back in. I guess she's happy that the useful son is going to take the place of the gargoyle that drains her happiness and sanity.
I see. So you really want me to leave and you're going to take my place?
That's right. Nobody needs you, so get lost and make way. I'm sorry. You're feeling frustrated and abandoned? Too bad.
Not really. I thought it would hurt more, but I actually feel kind of free. Like a huge weight has been lifted off my shoulders. You'll understand that once I leave. I'm never coming back, right?
That's what we're all hoping for.
So everyone is really okay with me leaving this house and burning all bridges behind me?
Quit trying to sound so dramatic. You're acting like your simple existence brings some kind of value to the table. Spend more time packing and less time trying to make me feel sympathy for you. It's not going to work. You're the black sheep in a family of accomplished individuals. A louse like you brings down the prestige of our family, and probably even the land value with your unwashed flesh.
Excellent.
What?
I'm so glad to hear that from you. I was recently thinking that I really want to get out of here, so thanks for the seal of approval. Okay, I'll be out here with all my stuff before midnight. Thanks for taking over and taking care of Mom and Dad.
Wait, can you really leave that suddenly? When you have no money? Don't think of asking Mom or Dad for money.
I told you, I can leave on my own with no help from anyone. I'm not sure where you're getting your information from, but I have plenty of money.
How could you? You're a bum.
For the last time, I'm not a freeloading sponge. So as per your wishes, I'll be leaving this house to your care. As an addendum, don't bother me with any of the problems you may encounter as the new man of the house.
I don't see how you have anything I would need, or if any of your skills would be of value to me. Just leave and open a window before you go, so your funk doesn't make me gag. Hurry up and pick up. We need to talk ASAP.
I have nothing to say to you. I told you not to get me involved anymore. I'm finally going to be able to live my best life. You had your time. Now it's mine.
This is not how any of this was supposed to go.
What are you talking about?
Mom and Dad are livid at me and want me to convince you to come back.
No, and why? You have a job and bring in a handsome salary, don't you? They should be happy to have a reliable son like you looking after them. So it's no longer necessary for me to hang around there and keep them afloat.
It's not that.
Oh, perhaps you didn't tell them that me moving out was part of the deal of you moving back in? Nah, that can't be it. Ultra-reliable big brother Richard would never make a mistake like that. He would never kick his little brother out of their childhood home in a show of power and not tell their parents about it. I was in quite a hurry last night getting my stuff packed to go and didn't have time to talk to the rents. I simply assumed that you would have, of course, told them about the change they would have to witness.
Well, it seems that Mom didn't know that you would leave when I moved back in. She was so excited to hear that I was coming to live with them again. Apparently, she thought that we would be able to live together as a full family again. So she was overjoyed imagining how things were going to be again.
Yeah, that's something you should have explained better. Anyhow, I'm not going back. Make sure you make the monthly mortgage payments on the house so you all continue to have a roof over your heads.
Mortgage? I thought the house was paid off.
You didn't even know about that?
I haven't heard anything. Mom is in a hysteric panic, and Dad looks like he's about to blow a gasket. I was just told to get a hold of you. What is this nonsense about paying a mortgage?
Up till now, I was the one paying off the mortgage they took out on the house.
How is an unemployed freeloader supposed to pay off anything? But more importantly, why did they take out a mortgage on the house?
Let me answer those in order. For the umpteenth time, I have a job. In fact, it's extremely well paying. A few years back, a security program I wrote was picked up by the Department of Defense. Since then, I've been raking it in programming security algorithms for all kinds of companies. I also make brisk business being a consultant and advisor on the side. I'm making money hand over fist at the moment and have plenty saved away in a rainy day fund that is more like a tropical storm vault now. Because I'm making good money now, I've been able to help out Mom and Dad in these tougher times. Now, it's your turn to support them.
Why wasn't I told any of this? You were just a freeloading parasite after university, right?
There is nothing to freeload off of at that house.
Dad makes enough money from his job as a contractor that there should be no need to mortgage the house, right?
You really need to learn to stop and listen to people around you instead of running your mouth and trying to force your way by talking fast and loud. Dad took an early retirement a few years back and blew his entire severance package at the racetracks. He even went into debt to the bookies and is now working part-time as a janitor at the supermarket to try and feed his habit.
You can't be serious.
Mom had to resign from her job at the hospital because of the embarrassment her husband caused us. She's now working the till at the local gas station to help pay off Dad's debts. I can't believe you really didn't know anything.
No, this can't be real. This is nothing like it was supposed to be. This is not my plan.
Plan? May I ask you what your plan was?
I planned to quit my job at the firm and take it easy at home for a good while.
You wanted to do what you thought I was doing?
If I came home, then at least I'd have a place to stay for free and eat 3 square meals a day. I figured I could use this time off to figure out what I would do next.
So the truth comes out. My cocky elite brother was really just a gopher at the bottom of the pecking order.
Where did you hear that?
A good friend of mine from university was hired by the same company as you. He said there was a guy that had been there for years, but was always screwing up paperwork, providing the wrong documents, and being a general pain to everyone around him. He was suspicious at first because that useless employee's last name was the same as mine. But could it really be? I heard him out and asked for the full name of the landmine employed before him. Lo and behold, the name matched that of my dear old brother.
Who was that? Tell me now.
Doesn't really matter, does it? You know that most of the people around you felt that, didn't you? That's why you're quitting, to escape the ridicule and mocking stares.
On top of that, I never thought I would have to pay for things when I moved back home. I have no savings at all.
Maybe you should have used your salary more economically instead of blowing it on a luxury car, designer clothes, and stupid watches.
What should I do? The contract on my apartment was up, so I bailed before I had to pay another deposit on it. I have nowhere else to go. The only option is for you to come back and help out the family.
That's a nope from me, bro. You told me to leave, and I did. On the condition that I would never return once I left, and we would never communicate again. You were happy to agree to that. Now you come begging on your knees after insulting me for years?
I didn't know Dad was in debt, and both our parents are only working part-time jobs.
That mortgage money was supposed to go to paying off Dad's debts, but he secretly took it to all the races and lost it all on one race. So the mortgage isn't the whole debt you need to deal with. You still have to pay off the principal on Dad's debts to the bookies. Have fun!
All of it? Are you serious?
Yes, it's quite the sum. With my earnings, I kept the interest payments at bay and was making some headway against the principal. It's now your responsibility, big bro. So as the responsible eldest child, you will now buckle down and wade through the mocking and ridicule at work so you can earn a paycheck to support your parents, right?
That's impossible. I turned in my resignation yesterday. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. Why does nothing work the way I want it to?
Life doesn't care about your plans, and those around you have no obligation to bend to your petty demands. I've spent the last 5 years of my life paying off Dad's mistakes while weathering your vitriol. Now, it's your turn to pony up and my turn to enjoy the wealth I've justly earned. I also told you to make sure everything was okay with Mom and Dad. I figured you would learn the truth then, but you obviously didn't let Mom explain anything and ran your mouth. This is what happens when you don't communicate properly with those around you. Same as your, I guess, former now job.
I thought Dad was a super successful businessman, so I had a safe fallback. Why did things turn out like this?
Gambling addiction is a real disease. Half my efforts have been to try and keep Dad from taking his paychecks directly to the horses, but he still tries every 2 weeks to sneak out to the races. I was even paying for therapy and rehab, but he always skipped out on them, saying he had no problem and he was sure the next time would be his big payoff. He may be a lost cause.
Then what should I do?
I don't know.
Don't act like this doesn't concern you.
But it doesn't. You took responsibility for everything once you kicked me out. I double and triple checked that you understand that once I left, I was never coming back. I have zero intention of helping you out and will not return under any circumstance. Use your elite skills and status to power through this, alright, buddy?
Do you really think you can abandon me at a time like this? I am your older brother. You must respect me and do what I want you to do.
As you said yourself, I'm just mimicking what my older brother does.
What do you mean?
So, I'm abandoning my position and claim no responsibility of a situation that is clearly difficult, but can be solved through hard work and sacrifice. Just like you, big brother. I learned it from you. Take some advice from yourself here and get off your butt and do something with your life. You'll be unable to fulfill your dream of leeching off mom and dad, so you might need to revise your plans. Ironic that you ridiculed me for the imaginary lifestyle you then wanted to take up, only to find out that you have more trouble and responsibility than the life you were living because it was too hard for you. After his hasty decision to quit his job, Richard found himself in a difficult situation. In a moment of desperation, he embarrassingly returned to his former employer and pleaded with them to rescind his resignation. He claimed to have had a change of heart and found new motivation to become an asset to the company. However, his pleas fell on deaf ears, and his resignation was approved, leaving him without a job. To make matters worse, word had gotten out about his reasons for quitting and the situation he found himself in, causing him to be ridiculed by his former co-workers during his last 2 weeks at the company. As the family's financial situation worsened due to my father's debts, I refused to help out and Richard was forced to find the first job that would accept him. It was a humbling experience for him, and hopefully one that will teach those who are too prideful to rein in their haughtiness. Otherwise, they may end up like Richard, struggling to make ends meet and facing the consequences of their actions.